Hey guys, this is Alex.
And this is Drew.
And today on the Two Man Comic Book Club podcast, we're taking a look at Vision number 3. Let's go. Do that one a little quicker than I usually do.
Yep.
Straight and to the point.
It's okay.
How you been, fellas?
Good.
We've gotten to where we're just recording one at a time for now, which is what time allows.
Yeah.
So I always feel like we're like, I think you tweeted about it today, like, put one out,
You mean
go record one, put one out, go record one.
Soloists farting on stage? That tweet?
No. You tweeted on the Two-Man account.
Oh,
At least I
that's-
don't think you tweeted
I
about
forgot.
parts on the Two-Man account.
No, that was my personal account. Follow me at Drew Morris Comp on Twitter for all the juicy deets.
Yeah. So we're in that phase right now of
Yeah.
kind of week to week, pumping
Well,
them out.
I wasn't saying that so much. It's just, I don't know if we've ever actually recorded on a release
release
day.
day. I don't
It's
think
just
we
that
have
that's
either.
what worked best this week.
Yeah. It feels like I'm constantly doing, in a good way, podcast stuff, but the editing specifically for these videos, if you don't know still, which you should at this point, we do record YouTube videos for this and put them up, and they have the comic panels, so super cool. You get to see our unkempt faces and
My COVID hair.
COVID hair.
I don't have COVID. It's just, I haven't been to a barber.
Yeah. It's really cool, though. I like the added dynamic panels that are thrown there, add another depth, another layer to what we're doing. So check that out. We only have like 18 subscribers on there. So get us to 25.
So I'm going to say, like I said with the podcast, go if you're standing next to somebody, if you're a subscriber, first off, or if you're not a subscriber, open up YouTube, search Two Man Comic Book Club, and hit subscribe. And if you're standing next to somebody, take their phone and do the same thing.
Yeah, it literally is free. It takes no time at all, and it will help us a lot.
And I understand if you hit the like button, that's good for us. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've started hitting the like button on things, even on our own stuff.
Yeah,
don't know if
I've
that's
definitely
okay.
started realizing how hard it is for somebody to like be in the YouTube game, or really just the content creator game. I'm like trying to interact with people because there's so much of it that it's algorithm led anyway. So you just got to break through, and you break through with likes and comments and shares and subscribes and subscriptions, I should say. But anyway,
Is there a meme
help us out.
for Al Gore rhythm?
Algorithm?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Al Gore.
I'm sure there's print.
Al Gore rhythm.
You can say it more times.
I get it.
I don't get it.
Like rhythm
the word,
as in
the
musical
word
rhythm.
algorithm and then algorithm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was
One of
just
those
picturing
deep cut memes.
whenever you said algorithm, I just pictured it cut an Al Gore rhythm meme popping up there for like a split second. Just psh.
If you make one by the time,
I've never made a meme. I don't know
now's
anything
the
about
time.
it.
You just came up with one. Just make a meme and I'll slap it up there.
I was gonna do some typing, but I didn't know if it would mess up the GarageBand file.
Probably.
I did not.
But anyway, we're back. We're finally getting back to this awesome Vision run just in time for, I think what's the date? Is it the 5th, 4th?
Fourth.
Today is the 4th.
10 days?
No, yeah.
11 days until the debut of episode 1 of WandaVision. I am so hyped. It's going to be freaking awesome. But we wanted to get some of these issues up on the podcast before, so you guys had a reference point of what the show is maybe going to be like, at least as far as from a design aesthetic. I still think, especially now after rereading all 12 issues of this, that they're not going to one-for-one it, but
Yeah.
it's already been all but confirmed. Like, they're definitely taking some inspiration from some of the aesthetic stuff, especially. And who knows, maybe we'll, in one of these weird alternate realities we'll see the Vision family
Viv,
and Virginia. Yeah. Either way, I'm super excited about it. We're also going to do, as I understand, a reaction to episode 1. Hopefully, we'll have that out the Monday after episode 1 debuts. So if you want to hear all our thoughts on that, make sure you're subscribed. Anywhere you can get a podcast would be great. So before we get into that, Drew, what you been reading, yo?
Oh crap! Have I read anything?
Did you go? When did we record last? Was it
I don't remember. It was like Thursday or Friday.
Thursday or Friday? Like 4
was a
or
quick
5 days ago?
turnaround.
Yeah.
I haven't read a comic book since then.
Wow.
Has it been New Year's since then? I finished reading Outliers 20 minutes before midnight.
New Year's was Friday, right?
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah.
It was last year.
I think we made some silly comment about
New
seeing you
Year's
guys
Day
next
was
year.
Friday.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
So I started reading my first Stephen King in ages. So I'm excited
What are you
about
reading?
that. The one that Torrance mentioned a while back, 4
4 minutes or
after midnight.
4 till midnight.
4 till midnight, something like that. It's a collection of shorts or novellas.
Ah,
The Langoliers is the first one. I've seen the made-for-TV movie version of that, and I keep imagining those things chomping around.
yeah, I know nothing about anything really,
It's
but
4 past midnight.
Okay, yeah.
but especially Stephen King. I've always wanted to dive in, but there's so many comics to read and shows to watch and wives to hang out with.
Yeah.
Wife to hang
So
out with,
many
I should
wives.
say.
Wives.
Just one. But
Alex, what you been reading, yo?
I've been reading a lot. The
You
other
made
night,
up for me.
Yeah, I definitely did. I've read more in the past 4 days than I have all of last month for sure.
Wow.
I'm caught up on Iron Man. Tonight I will start Iron Man 1, the Christopher Cantwell run that I've been collecting the trades for.
Nice.
Finally, 3 months after they actually started coming out. So finish that. The Dan Slott 2020, Iron Man 2020 run by Dan Slott. Very interesting. I don't know if I mentioned to you guys, it follows Arno Stark, Tony's secret half step brother. I can't remember which way they're related by blood or law, but either way, he's Tony Stark for a while. It culminates in somehow Tony Stark actually coming back. I think I mentioned before that he's there but not there. He's been replaced so much that it's not really him anymore. Finished up, and yeah, I won't spoil anything, but it's a pretty cool run. Definitely different to see somebody other than Tony as the lead character for an Iron Man book, but it worked out that way. It was pretty cool because this was a seed planted years and years ago about Arno Stark being born to combat a very specific villain. He was almost designed to be born and then got really sick, and they had to have somebody be the son of the Starks, so Tony got picked. That's how you find out that his parents are not actually his parents. He's adopted. Anyway, finished that. About to start the new Iron Man run, and then I read just shy of 20 issues of that Chip Zdarsky Daredevil run. It is really, really good. One bummer, though. I've read as far, I think I'm at issue 23. So maybe I read a little less than 20. I think it was 6 before. But I was reading all these comic book, other podcasts and channels that I follow on YouTube are doing here's my top comics from 2020. And one of them got to issue 25 of the Daredevil run that I'm reading. And he was like, spoilers ahead. And then I started looking around frantically for my remote and I couldn't find it. So I'm just sitting there panicking and screaming and forgot to do the ah la la trick. So I heard a little bit of a spoiler, which is a bummer, but I'm still going to read. It's so good. I also am going to retract one of my complaints. Last time I talked about one of the artists switching for 2 reasons. A, that artist that I really liked, I think it's Mike Cicchetto. Cicchetto's the last name. Came back and has done the bulk of the series up through that. They've switched artists, I think, 2 or 3 times through that, but it's just usually for an issue. And I went back and I was like, this isn't bad by any means. And I think what I said last time might have insinuated that it was just bad art, and it definitely wasn't. Just personal preferences. I like what Cicchetto did on the story more than the other ones that I saw. But I was talking with Tori earlier about how we would cover something like that. Well, we were just talking about this Vision series because there's 12 issues, and it's it gets really hard to do 12 episodes about 12 different comics, even if it is a great run like this Vision run. But
So it's 3 solid months.
yeah, I mean, that's a lot of, at that point you're like, okay, this is a Vision podcast. If somebody asked you what were your last 3 months of work, they're all in the Vision.
Yeah.
A single run of the Vision.
Followed by the Law and Order MCU podcast.
Yes. Oh,
Dun dun.
my my wife thinks I'm really lame for just talking about that nonstop. Not really. She likes the stuff too, but she did not get as excited as I did.
Yeah.
I watched myself again when editing this podcast, and I had the same hype watching myself get hyped about it.
Whenever I was editing, I really wanted to. If you listened or watched, and you saw that I never came back and put the music in, it's because I looked it up and there was somebody that wanted to use it in a movie or something.
Yeah.
And they had to pay it was like 20 grand or 200 grand just to use that. Done. So I just added a bunch of reverb when I did it, and it sounded
It was good
cool.
enough for what we needed.
So I didn't want to get sued because
How can
20 grand, 200 grand is not in the 2-man account.
no, nor does one exist.
Exactly.
Related to that, I'll get on. I've read a few more things, and I'll get onto them in a second. But how do they come to that number? This one little soundbite, this little jingle, if you want to call it that, is worth that much money. And if so, has somebody actually paid? Let's just be on the conservative end, $20,000 to use that in a parody or
I'm sure.
a movie.
It's iconic. And I Googled it and, excuse me, I gurgled it.
There you go.
We haven't gurgled in a long time.
Yeah. We got to do Gurgler full
Yeah,
time.
that's right. I looked it up, and they gave credit to the composer, and they said that
The
sound.
composer.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
it was like a combination of like a jail cell slamming, a gavel, and like a sound of 50 monks like stamping their feet barefoot, and like tons of reverb and like 10 other sounds. And I guess they call that like Dick Wolf's wallet sound or something like that, because every time you hear it, Dick Wolf's making money. And like the cha-ching.
Yeah.
Like people say you can spell it thunk thunk, dunk dunk, don don. And somebody said that Dick Wolf spells it cha-ching.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it
like,
makes sense.
People
Like,
pay for it.
if there were a trivia game where you guess TV shows based solely off of sound bites,
Yeah.
everybody would get that one right away because you know exactly what it is. But it is wild that you can just, for these essentially 2 notes being used, it's the price of a car. And
Yeah.
maybe there's some films that are just $100 million budget films. They're like, yeah, throw it in there.
Oh yeah.
It'll be
definitely.
worth the joke,
Definitely.
you know. Anyway, what else? I'm going to, just so I make sure that I catch everything, go to my most recently read section. Oh, I started to read and then I paused because I wanted to read something else. Not the most recent, another issue of Doctor Doom has arrived on Marvel Unlimited. So
cool.
we'll need to catch up on that again. I read this one comic that was really interesting. It's called Unstable Molecules. And it's actually called Startling Stories Fantastic Four Unstable Molecules. And it's really weird. It came out in 2003, but it's basically a look at... So most people aren't aware that the Fantastic Four are kind of based off of real people. And this is kind of a look at what would it be like to just do a comic book about these average people, knowing what we know now about their super lives.
Can I guess the people that they're modeled after?
You can guess. I don't have answers for you.
Danny DeVito, Ryan Reynolds,
Yeah.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and and by the way, Danny DeVito is definitely for Mr. Fantastic.
Okay, I was putting these in an order in my mind. So Ryan Reynolds is Sue Storm in my head.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, and then who was the next one? Because she was the Human Torch.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, Human Torch.
And then
Who's your thing?
My thing.
But you can't change your
I
answer
almost
now.
said Michael Chiklis, but that's didn't he play him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's too accurate. I'm going to say. Oh, I should have had a better idea, so there wasn't so much dead air.
Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah,
Zing.
because we said Oprah Winfrey and Danny DeVito paired together for something recently. Yeah. Oprah Winfrey is.
That's the thing.
Was that right?
According to this, I have no idea.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll go with it.
According to this, I have no idea.
Yeah. Anyway, Unstable Molecules. I haven't finished it all. There's a few of them. It was a kind of a fun one-off when I was trying to just cleanse the palate from Daredevil. Like, okay, let's move to something else and keep reading. But it wasn't super diverse. I finished my Iron Man run. Read a ton of this Daredevil run. I think I got Rodney convinced to read it too. Rodney, if you're listening, read Daredevil after this. Love you, bye. That's it for me. What about you? What you been reading, yo?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm still reading because it's quite a long series. The comic books that y'all gave me.
Yeah, the Dark Tower.
It's going really good. I'm also listening to an audiobook of a collection of Richard Matheson stories, which is called Terror at 20,000 Feet.
I don't know Richard Matheson.
He's a horror author. He's the guy who wrote I Am Legend, which is vastly superior to the film. The film is garbage.
I liked the film, but I believe
The film is garbage.
I believe that the book was better, but I also like all Will Smith things. I'm like, this is good.
Yeah, no, it was fine.
Yeah.
They famously changed the ending because test audiences were confused by it, which was a really silly move.
Right.
But Richard Matheson wrote I Am Legend. He was responsible for the Twilight Zone episode of
I was about to
Gremlin
ask.
on the Wing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's something on the wing.
Yeah.
Something.
And,
I had a question about it. Oh, isn't the original I Am Legend book based on like vampires instead of zombies?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Like it's pretty different.
it's like a very scientific approach to what a vampire might be. Like a scientific reason for why there might be vampires, which is really interesting.
Cool. I need to read that.
I have a really important question that's incredibly relevant to the Two Man Comic Book Club podcast.
I'm ready for it.
Did you happen to catch on
Take two.
Did you happen to catch on Gemini Man where Will Smith's character was from?
What do you mean where his character was from?
Where he grew up?
Was it
Bellaire?
Was it Berryville, Arkansas?
No, it was West Philadelphia.
Was it really?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was just like, when I was watching it with my wife, yeah.
How did I miss that?
I like literally stopped and laughed.
I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, I can't either. Was it like on a file where you had to like look for it, or did somebody say, "Yeah, I'm
No,
from
they were.
West
It was
Philadelphia"?
when he was having the date with the woman,
Uh-huh.
and they were just talking, and yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I grew up in Philly."
West Philly.
I think he said West Philly.
Wow,
Really?
And I was just like, "That is awesome."
that is really cool. Yeah, I have to rewatch it now.
Yep.
I still haven't watched it. If you didn't know about that movie, Gemini Man, that is by Ang Lee, the director, and it was shot in 60 frames per second. Now, if you don't know anything about cinema or frame rates of how cameras work, basically the human eye, if you like do this experiment with us, you take your hand and move it in front of your hand like this, or your head, and you see like a natural blur to your fingers moving by. That is very similar to what cinema is, and it's 24 frames a second. Some people call it 23.967.
This is 24 that you're watching.
Yeah, what you're watching right now is 24 frames a second, and that's kind of the standard for cinema and television and film. But 60 frames a second and even 120 is used for a very like. It can be like almost off-putting when you're watching it because it can be very like startling and contrasty to what just the human eye sees. Like it's a faster frame rate than what we actually visualize things. So it creates a very cool effect. When I watched it, it was converted to 24 frames a second. But if you go to YouTube and type in 4K 60 HDR, I'll put that up on the screen right now in the text so you know exactly what to put in. A sample clip from that film in the original resolution and frame rate is on YouTube, and you can actually reference it and see. I think even
It's trippy.
on your phone, if you have an all modern smartphone, you should be able to watch it at least in 60 frames a second. I think it might not be 4K.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because these are 60 hertz, which also just refers to the frame rate of the device. So if you have an iPad Pro, you can for sure watch it. Those are 120 hertz, so they'll view up to 120 FPS. Anyway, super cool. The film was shot in that on purpose, so it gives it a very, very different look cinematically compared to the stuff you've normally seen. So maybe when I rewatch it, I'll go out of my way to find the core original file.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Two Man Comic Book Club podcast.
Right. You learned things today. It's loosely relevant. We have to create these videos. Maybe I'll shoot a whole episode in 60 frames a second. Can your camera do 60?
Yeah.
In 1080 probably.
Yeah, not in
That's
4K.
fine. We can do
Just
it in 1080. It'd be way easier to edit.
Yeah. And could you do nonstop? Could we do one giant cut? in
Probably.
1080?
That's why I've thought before about. Actually, I don't know if I could or not. Anyway,
Welcome
we
to Shop
digress.
Talk.
We talk about how hard it is for us to actually make these videos happen for both of you to watch. Just kidding. It's worth it. Anything else on the what you've been reading yo list? I read a lot, but again, it was a lot of a certain book.
No.
No. All right, well, let's take a quick break, and then we will get back into vision number 3. And we're back, and we're going to jump straight into vision number 3 just to give a refresher because it's been like 3 episodes since we've done vision. Tom King is the writer of this book. Gabriel Hernandez Walta did the art, the inks. Jordie Bellaire is the color artist. VC's Clayton Cowles is the letterer and did production on this as well. And then for this specific cover, Mike Del Mundo with a variant cover by Christian Ward. Sorry, I just got an email. Would you like me to read it?
Yes.
I'll do Credit Karma score.
Oh.
I'm probably not going to read that online.
3?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm hoping one day to get to double digits.
It's funny. And
Cool.
I'd like you all to say hi to the 2-man comic book dog. It was just howling. I don't know if you heard it or not.
Yeah. If we had one of those. So I'm going to read this splash panel here just because I feel like it kind of gives us a base to go forward with, and knowing that we also just took a 3-episode break from that. So you can reestablish where we're at, and we'll go from there. So the Vision is a synthezoid, an android composed of synthetic human blood and organs, and was created by Ultron to destroy the Avengers. But instead, he turned on his father, quote unquote, and he's been a member of the superhero team ever since. Recently, the Vision built a synthezoid family for himself, his wife Virginia, and children Vin and Viv. The 4 of them are trying their best to live a normal and peaceful Washington, D.C. suburb life. But one night, while Vision was away, the supervillain Grim Reaper violently attacked the family in their home, severely wounding Viv, his daughter. Virginia murdered the Grim Reaper in retaliation, but she decided to lie to Vision about that, telling her husband that the villain had merely fled in the night. Virginia had thought that the matter was settled, but Viv still clings to life, and a disturbed Vin assaulted a fellow student, and the most troubling thing is that someone is apparently blackmailing Virginia and has video of her burying Grim Reaper's body. And that was the last thing that we saw on issue 2, I believe. Yep. So, going into this one, I'm going to kind of paraphrase some of this. Basically, it shows this kid, and he's got some spray paint, and he's painting on what looks like the side of a house. We don't really know where. It does look similar to the neighborhood that the Visions live in. And they're kind of discussing about how there are bad words that are often used to describe people with different color skin. Cool. And that's an unfortunate reality. But they lead kind of quickly to that they went online, some of these kids, to look up what are some of those bad names that could be used for robots, or as the Visions are, synthezoids. So a few of them they put on here: bolt head, toy, toolbox, hollow man, toaster, ruster, clink shell, wannabe. They found quite a few options, it says, and it took a while to settle on one. And as we pan out, we find out that this kid is writing "Go Home Socket Lovers" on the Vision's home. But right as he finishes, a hand phases through the garage door, grabs the kid, and pulls and slams him into the garage door. And there's like this spattering of blood coming out of his mouth. And then one of the other kids that was with him watching screams, "Holy!" And we see Virginia. She says, "You, I see you there." And this is creepy too, because she's like standing there with her foot phased through his head.
I just noticed that. I thought maybe she was standing on with her foot on it like a trophy, but then I realized no, it's just she's oblivious.
Yeah, there's a lot of very subtle phasing I've learned in these issues. Like if you look very closely, there's another one in one of the more sensual moments of this comic book, some phasing going on. But anyway, you got to think that she's like, would this not almost be attempted murder?
Oh, yeah.
If you have your foot and you have the ability to phase, and it's in someone's head, and all you have to do is unphase, immediate death, and probably a pretty terrible way to go. So anyway, she walks forward. She doesn't phase or unphase in his head. She says, "Stay as you are, and I will not harm you." And this kid starts running away, and that's how we get the issue in and out. Do you want to take these next pages here?
Yeah. So she's basically telling Vision, you need to get home. But all the while, they're talking about this, what's it called? A Wundagore. Is that pronounced correct?
Wundagore, yeah, I think that's how I would say it. Wundagore Everbloom.
Yeah, and about how this thing was a gift from somebody that was like, it was for Vision and Wanda.
Yeah, so it's from Agatha Harkness,
Okay.
whom Wanda was a
just a
student of. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a gift to Vision and Wanda and their two kids. And then it just kind of goes on and says, later, still, the children died. The Vision died. Wanda died. Agatha died. And I was just like, holy crap.
Right.
And the Everbloom lived on. And then it goes on to talk about, it's kind of a flashback, about how there's these Everblooms, supposedly, that people buy whenever they're on vacation, because if you eat one of the petals, you possibly get a vision of the future. Meanwhile, that's like the narrator.
Yeah.
And then in the forefront, there's a little cat, a cute little black cat that's eating one. And I don't know if we know who this is yet, so I'm not going to say it. But there's somebody standing there with him. And it talks about how the deal is that most of these blooms that people buy are just dyed roses. And it doesn't do anything. I can't remember how far it goes before it stops.
Yeah, we kind of visit this scene, so
Later
we'll kind of
on,
like put a pause on this like 3 different times, I think, through this issue. I also can't remember how far it goes in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it basically goes to that there's something to do with people having to actually ingest part of the flower, and then you have to, when they cough, they would bend over and spit out all the color so that it's easy to fall off the flower.
I don't think I quite got ahead of myself. I don't remember if I mentioned that the cat was actually eating a petal.
Yeah.
Maybe I did, maybe I didn't.
Yeah, I'll put some of those pages up on the screen when he's reading all that, and you can just kind of see. It's very cool art. It's muted compared to the rest of the book anyway. But going on, we realized that we are in this operating room with Vision and Tony Stark, and they are working on Viv, who, as you remember from issue 1 rather, was stabbed right in the middle of the chest by the Grim Reaper. And they're trying to fix her, and they're basically kind of talking about how, due to the reactionary and corporal nerve receptors, as he says, the damage was in fact not irreversible. So basically that he thinks they're going to be able to bring her back. She's still doing that like skipping mother thing. And really they're just working on her right here. But Tony's talking about that they're only going to get one shot at bringing her back, and how all the energy is going to take to actually bring her back is like a one-time thing. Like, this may or may not work. And he said it's going to knock out the entire American grid, and he's going to tell Jarvis that you went evil and made him do it, kind of like he was being held hostage by the Visions. Just some fun passing, poking fun at, as Tony does. But basically, they decide that if Vision can actually like put his hands and phase into Viv and hold on and like take the brunt of this energy, it's going to like have a much higher success rate. So he does, but Tony's like, this is going to hurt quite a bit. Like, I realize that you're the Vision and you can take a lot, but even for you, this is not just going to tickle. And we see another like element of just the human side that he's trying to take on here. And then he's like, this is his daughter. Of course, he's going to try it. He's going to do it. So, and Tony slams down the lever, and we get this pretty gnarly electrocution looking scene of Vision trying to save his daughter, bring her back to life. And there's a full panel. It's like sparks flying out of his ears, and it's getting like way out of hand. And Tony's like screaming, I think it's too much. I'm going to turn it off. And then this bottom panel here on the screen was kind of daunting. Vision says, Tony Stark, you are my colleague. You are a fellow Avenger. You are my oldest friend. But if you touch that button, I will kill you. So it just shows like how important it is for him to do this, and how maybe over the edge he's going. And then like you see Tony like freaking out, which is a big thing for Tony, I think, to be taken aback or caught off guard by something that somebody says, especially, the mouthiest of the Avengers. And he says, Jesus, Vision. And Vision just screams like, she is my daughter and I will save her. And eventually the sparks subdue. She sits up, and Vision has saved his daughter and embraces her for the first time.
Mother, father.
Yeah, nice little moment there. But you can see behind this warm embrace, you see Tony kind of looking and just definitely a face of concern.
Yeah. And then we have that kind of omniscient narration, and I like this part. It's like, later, Captain America will ask Iron Man how it all went. Fine, Iron Man said. Normal. I mean, everything was normal. I'm just like, this was normal?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not an Avenger.
Right. That, or he definitely didn't know whether he should
maybe
indulge. Like, he was like,
keep it
normal.
close to the vest.
You know, as he's done, I think, he kind of downplays certain things and takes mental note himself for whatever Tony needs to do. Going forward, we see the next time through this. Now, this is I would argue that this is probably the most intense for some people. Like, Katie would slap me if I showed her this. So we go back to the past and we see the woman with the cat again, and we're talking, and you kind of quickly find out this is part of a ritual. And essentially it involves, like, you have to stab the cat or, like, get some of its blood. And I'm just going to flat out tell you, I'll slow pan on the screen, but here's your sensitivity warning if you're sensitive to this sort of thing. They put a pin needle, like, through the back of the cat's neck, and you see a little blood. It gets mad and runs away, and then it quickly, like, you can tell some magic goes on. It, like, morphs into a jaguar, I guess. Is that, or is it a cougar?
Is that a panther?
Maybe a panther?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Very large black cat.
Big cat, yeah.
Yeah, so that was part of the thing. So basically, the cat jumps on her and attacks her after he's grown for stabbing her, and then she actually kills it and then goes over to it. And I think they basically refer to
the real ritual.
The real ritual, right? Don't they have to, like...
You have to eat it twice.
Right.
It has to be consumed once by something, and then that thing has to die. Like, you have to kill it. It has to be consumed a second time after murder.
And that's how you get the vision.
Yes.
Okay, so we saw in the first panel the cat ate it. She had to kill the cat, and then...
She is going to... I don't remember if it shows it, but yeah, basically it's like you got to get the petal out of the cat's intestines.
Right. It actually says at the very bottom here, the petal must be consumed or twice consumed, first after hunger, second after murder. Yeah. So kind of a dark scene there. I don't blame you if that's something you don't want to check. You can just swipe through those pages and take our word for it that it's a little intense. So panning back, we're back in the Vision household, and Vin is sitting what looks like a tablet on the couch, just hanging out. And the doorbell's going like crazy. Ding dong, ding dong. And
what'd you call me?
Yeah, ding dong. It's your namesake. She's basically scolding Vin for... Yeah. This is another one, though. They just give you a little peek of the humanity that they're trying to recreate here. And that maybe not that they're trying to recreate, but just showing that there are parallels of the normal human American family. The boy sitting there on his electronics, ignoring the doorbell, making the mom rush into the room to answer it. And she basically scolds him like, you can actually answer the door. You know, you don't have to just sit there and be worthless. And the family's reunited again. Vision and Viv walk in with a motherly and daughterly embrace. And then, Drew, do you want to take us through the...
But I got to ask, why did they ding-dong?
You know, that is a good point.
I mean, I think they wanted the shock appeal of, like, us not knowing who it is.
Right.
And because they could have just walked in. They could have phased in. But I guess they wanted the big reveal, like, hey, everything's fine.
Right.
We're a big, happy family.
Yeah, that is interesting. Maybe that's like a missed nuance that they haven't figured out, that you don't have to knock on your own door. I don't know. That is kind of weird. They could have just walked in. I've never rang the doorbell at my house unless I was locked out. So
I think I've done it just to be funny.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Maybe that's what he was trying to lighten the mood.
Yeah. Maybe he wasn't himself after taking on all that electricity.
Right. Do you want to take this next scene?
Oh, you give me this one.
I give you the hot and spicy one. Yeah. You don't have to go into too much detail.
Well, do they talk about anything important, or is it basically just the moment? I think
just like the transition into.
They're just like Vision's talking about the basics. Like, all right, we're going to be cleaning up things. The painters after the head smashing garage door thing, and Vision's just kind of talking, and then all of a sudden, Vivian, that would be weird.
Virginia, very important.
Is standing there in some lingerie, And she walks forward, and it's funny because Vision's trying to carry on the conversation, but he keeps like losing track of thought, which I thought was interesting. Like,
yeah. Ooh la la.
What he's got like a supercomputer in his head, but he's not able to keep
But still, his wife is distracting him in the moment.
And then she starts phasing out of her clothing, and
then if you want to get creative and imagine what happens next. Yeah. So
Alex, I don't understand what happens next. Will you tell me?
Find out next time on the two-man comic. Just kidding. What if we did a whole episode on these two panels right here explaining?
I think there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, that's a two-man after dark couple of panels. So anyway, they just kind of do the thing where they slowly fade out of the house and you see silhouettes through the window and
then we are back with the sad scene of the big cat.
Yeah, so this is where we're back with our ritual, and I'm just going to cut to it. The lady pulls some of the organs out of the animal and starts eating it. It looks like the stomach maybe, which is where the flower would be.
They make a comment actually about how cat intestines aren't often eaten, even in cultures where they are eaten, because they're trained to like eat mice and it's unsanitary.
Right.
Just by the way.
Okay, so I'm going to read just a little bit of this because this is basically the end of the comic. Yeah. So they do talk about eating the cat stomach, and then so we find out this is Agatha Harkness, the person that gave the plant to Wanda and Vision. So it says a month ago, Agatha Harkness was dead. Like most, she spent her death dreaming of better days. Wanda, flowers, laughter. But eventually, as they must, the nightmares came. She saw Wanda's ex-husband. She saw the Vision. She saw him covered in blood. It was the blood of heroes, of friends, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men. She saw them all dead at Vision's feet. She saw the flowers. She saw Wanda lying still among the flowers. Agatha Harkness woke from death screaming. And now keep in mind, during all of this, she's taken a bite of this stomach with the flower in it. Looks like she's dying, and then she comes to with that scream that kind of aligned with that text. And it says she needed to know more. She needed to understand the threat to come. She needed to understand her vision. And so that was all the monologue over the top, just the narrator that we've kind of been following all the way through this. And then the very last panel shows her shocked face with blood all over it. And she says, in late September, with the leaves just beginning to hint at the fall to come, the Visions of Virginia moved into their house at 616 Hickory Branch Lane, Arlington, VA, 21301. ... End of issue.
Yep. And I, unlike my two compatriots who are overachievers, I haven't read the next one yet. So I'm still wondering what's after the ellipses.
Yeah. So kind of implied there's more to that vision she just had. This was a different one. What did you think about this one?
I was really sad seeing all the cat stuff.
I agree. This might be the hardest one. I mean, isn't that weird? We can watch comics of people dying all the day long, but we see a cat. We're just like, this is awful.
I feel like we just read something about that. Were they talking about that same exact concept in Doom recently? Like,
I can't remember.
You can see so many different people die, but then one particular thing dies, and it's just completely different. Maybe I'm making that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of this, I feel like, widespread truth for a lot of people. Just animal cruelty hits a little different than... There's more to come. I will say that if this issue turned you off, which I feel like it could for some of our listeners, I hope not. Please stick through. If you made it this far, you're through the worst of it. You're through the real bad spots.
Good to know.
How are we doing on time?
We got 10 minutes.
I think we're going to take a quick break anyway. We kind of got through that a little quick, and then we'll come back with our final thoughts and a two-man trivia round. We'll be right back. And we're back with the lightning round trivia questions, where our questions are faster than my wife came home and hopped in the shower because COVID-19 is real and she's got to be sanitary.
So if you can hear that in the background.
Yeah. Final thoughts on that book before we jump into trivia. I know we just announced this as a trivia round, but that one was, again, we've talked about this before. Not every single comic book is going to be just like punch you right in the face with like this jaw-dropping moment. That was another one that was very much a transition piece that's going to like kind of connect some of the dots and also set up some devices later that are going to pay off if you stick with this. I think we'll figure out a way to maybe double or triple up with some bullet points. Maybe we'll kind of do the fine points for finishing this series. I think most of you will want to know how it finishes, but we definitely can't do 12 episodes, 3 months, quarter of a year. I can do math. Any thoughts on that one?
I'm just really curious.
What happens next?
Yeah, what happens to make everybody so morose about the
what
visions.
was Agatha Harkness's next part of her vision?
And the principal?
Yeah.
That stuff.
For sure. Well, speaking of Agatha Harkness, I have some questions about her.
Oh, then I've already lost.
It's possible, though unlikely that you'll get any points here. Actually, it is possible for both of these answers to come out of your face hole.
Okay.
We'll see if it happens. So this is a two-parter. I like splitting up my questions. Even if he's going to get one of them, maybe he has a chance at least, I think, for the first one. But just so you guys get some more.
About me like I'm not even here.
Some more information. You're a figment of my imagination.
S'more?
What if you were a figment of my imagination? Both of you, and I'm just in here.
Oh, I was going to say, can you see me? But if we're both figments.
I'm just humoring him.
Yeah. He's just like, sure. I'll come be a part of your podcast.
Yeah. There aren't even mics or cameras.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a podcast right there. Cool. Agatha Harkness. First, can you tell me in what series she made her first appearance?
Short answer, no. Let me think about it. Mm-hmm.
I don't need like a year or a number. Oh, here we go. Is this considered a PED? Performance enhancing drug?
I think.
Oh, that was gross.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with anything. I was too focused
distracted
on my
Yeah.
Hershey's Hot Cocoa Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say the answer that I had. Actually, I have one that was a joke. Can I say the joke one, even though it's not real?
I won't acknowledge if it's correct or not.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Ooh.
All right, my real one is X-Men.
No.
Okay.
Not a bad
Then
guess.
I'm going to go with Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah. Correct. It was Fantastic Four.
All right.
If it matters to you, is in January of 1970, issue 94. So she's been around for a minute.
Okay.
I don't know what she was doing in Fantastic Four.
Eating
Probably
cats.
witch things and eating cats. Here is another one that just by guessing you might have a shot at. Give me an interesting fact about basically something she was based off of or depicted as. Like what her creators were like, this would be a cool thing to maybe play into.
Let me think about it for a minute.
Let's start a podcast with Drew eating assorted chocolates.
Like ASMR.
Yeah. While he's unwrapping that, I'm going to tell you that is a hot cocoa flavored Hershey's Kiss, which I'm not too fond of.
It's too hot.
It's too hot. Yeah. It has an interesting flavor.
Can I ask for one hint? I'm going to ask a question, and you can say
okay.
like,
So you want a hint question?
yeah. Is it based off of a specific witch? I mean, just a yes or no.
No.
Okay. I got no clue. Let's name somebody Agatha. And that was the whole basis of it.
Close.
Okay.
She has been depicted as one of the original witches from the Salem witch trials.
Okay. See, if I should have just really thought about it for a minute.
So I was like, there's a chance he
I
could
was going
guess
to be
that.
like, maybe it's the Wicked Witch of the West?
I think my clue that I was actually going to give you before you put stipulations on it, or your hint, was I was going to say Massachusetts.
Okay, yeah.
Salem,
So I was closer with my first guess to the first question to the answer of the second question because
I think you
Sabrina
could
the
argue
Teenage
that-
Witch has a cat named Salem.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So
I'm talking about the one from the 90s.
do we even know the score from the previous 2 episodes of this?
I meant to listen to it on the drive here, but I didn't.
We'll figure out the score, and future Alex will put it right here.
It
Ding.
will not be on the podcast. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The audio podcast.
You can just go in and say 1-0.
Alex is winning,
Yeah.
probably. All right, so my question
Hit me with your best shot.
is about a very, very important character in the history of Marvel that we discussed earlier.
God.
Famous for the inspiration for Mr. Fantastic,
Oh my God.
Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito won both a Golden Globe and an Emmy for his role in this TV show, which is incredibly relevant to Marvel Comics.
I have to guess it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
No, it was a long time ago. I'll give you a second guess.
Okay.
Can I guess I'm not playing, but I want to guess after.
You can, because I'm not
Alex.
going to get it right. I don't even know of another television show that he was in. Can you give me a decade?
Sure. Well, it spanned two. I will give you one of them.
Okay.
And you won't know if it was the front half or the back half, the 80s.
Okay. Just think of a television show. Magnum P.I.
No.
Yeah, I have no idea. Go
Was
ahead.
he on Magnum P.I.?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I
think it
don't
was.
see Magnum P.I.
Yeah,
written.
go ahead, Tori. You can guess. And
Was it Taxi?
It was Taxi.
Okay. Point for me.
This that was most assuredly the lightning round trivia for comic book podcast.
Yeah, for the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have one for us?
I do.
Sweet.
Thank God we can maybe get on the board.
Time for another round of Name That Supervillain.
It has moves now.
I do
All
like
right.
this round.
This supervillain got his start in high school when he dressed up in his signature costume during the senior prom and brandished a gun in the school parking lot. I can give you more clues.
Villain.
Villain brandished his signature. Alex,
Okay,
the Green Goblin.
wrong.
Okay. Do I get more guesses?
I think he gets a guess
Okay.
before you do.
Okay, I'll think while he thinks of it.
Did you say that you had hints?
I can give more hints.
Am I allowed to get a hint this round, or do I have to make a guess?
I think you should make a guess before, and then that way you guys can be on equal footing on the
so.
next
His trademark weapon,
He
one. Trademark costume.
costume. I mean,
brandishing a gun.
I had a thought,
I have a thought.
but I don't know. I feel like he's like an hero and like an anti-hero.
That's where my thought was going to be. So shoot your shot.
My thought was Punisher.
Wrong.
Okay.
I have a thought now. Alex,
Okay.
Crossbones.
Wrong.
Dang it.
Hint?
Hint is he was made fun of in school for looking like Ichabod Crane from the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Washington Irving story.
Interesting. Is this something that we should know?
This should be a pretty major hint.
Okay. Dang it. Ichabod
Wait,
Crane.
I've been thinking this whole time Marvel.
Right.
maybe
It doesn't necessarily have
It
to
doesn't
be
have to be
Marvel.
Marvel.
Oh,
Oh, that would be funny if it was.
is it the Riddler?
It is not the Riddler.
I'm gonna make this guess just because.
Because might as well. Neither of us are getting it.
Is it relevant to my question that I just asked?
Yes.
DeVito.
So Penguin?
No.
Oh,
I'll give you one final clue. His obsession led him to become a psychologist and taking a position at Arkham Asylum.
The Owl? Or that's not his name.
the Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
I almost said Scarecrow last time, but then I just thought it would
I
be
was thinking
awesome
of the Scarecrow, and I said the Owl for some
if
reason.
the answer was Danny DeVito
Would have been
as a
awesome.
penguin.
Yeah. Okay. Drew gets a point.
I don't even know if that counts as me. You had to give us so many. Does that count as a point?
I
mean,
feel
we've-
like it does.
We've used hints before with his. It's canon. Point for you. All right.
I won a Tory point.
I hope next week's answer to Drew's question is Danny DeVito.
That can be arranged.
Cool. Where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at Danny Devito on Twitter. And where can they find you?
Account. You can find me at Alex Wayne Miller. Wayne is Wayne, just like Batman, because there's a Wayne in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tori, what about you?
And you can find me at Torrance Watkins, TorranceWatkins. You can follow me if you want to or not. It won't hurt my feelings.
You can find us at 2Man Comic Book with the number 2 on Twitter, 2Man Comic Book Club, Instagram, Facebook, 2Man Comic Book Club at Blogspot. Wait, I'm splitting them. 2Man Comic Book Club at gmail.com if you want to shoot us an email. If you want to shoot us if you want to join our Danny DeVito fan club, email us there. Or check out our blog, 2mancomicbookclub.blogspot.com. I feel like there's something else that I'm forgetting.
You need to leave a comment on Apple Podcasts if you get a chance to. Leave a 5-star one, review that is, and we'll read your comment. Those go to help us a long way. That's easily the platform that we're listened to on the most. I was just looking at the analytics the other day. So help us out. Share with a friend. Share with a loved one. Anybody that likes this kind of stuff.
Share with a hated one.
Yeah. We can also be used as a weapon, I feel like.
Share it with somebody who hates Danny DeVito.
Right.
That's all we talk about.
Right.
Danny DeVito and Will Smith.
Yeah, our boys. That's all for me. Anything else for you guys?
Follow us on, or subscribe on
like,
YouTube.
Comment, subscribe. I need to start saying that more. That's
Schleichscribe.
the key, right? You just say that until you're rich and famous because of YouTube views.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
I'm not really at Danny DeVito on Twitter.